Hello, hello. April is not here yet. I hope she's joining us. This is our weekly broadcast where we talk about all kinds of search, AI, everything that can. Let me just look. Hi, April. No worries. I was almost late as well. So as you know, so I made it. So we meet here 1 p.m. EST every week to talk about everything that is going on in search and AI industries. I'm Anne Smarty. I have been in SEO for more than 20 years at this point. I changed a lot of roles. I've seen it all. So it's very interesting to be an SEO now for sure, because something is going on every week and we are happy to help you keep track of what's going on and where it's all going. For that, I don't think anyone has any answers. No one knows, including Google and ChatGPT and all of those. No one knows where exactly it is going, but it is good to keep track of what's happening at this point so we can make some predictions, we can prepare, we can change our strategies or at least refocus them to what matters at this very moment. And we are here for that. Today with me and always, April, our director of social. She will be asking questions and she will be also bring up any questions from the audience if there are any. I know these quick videos, quick live streams are quite a bit overwhelming. We are all overwhelmed. So it is not, usually people just watch and try to keep track, but if you do have any questions, please ask them in the comments wherever you're watching us from. I hope that today Twitter is going to work, but I'm not sure. April will have to check that out. Last time it didn't, but I'm sure we are trying to be very not just informational, but also actionable. To know what we're going to be talking about every week, please subscribe ansmarty.com. This is where I announce every week's topic based on what's going on. If nothing is going on, I curate a lot of things that has happened throughout a few weeks so that you know what's happening. Today is an interesting topic, and I would like to take a little bit wide approach to it. How AI is changing search. I think we are all wondering that. There are many things that are changing search, and that is happening very fast. When ChatGPT was launched, my biggest prediction was that yes, in some way it will replace search when people go to get those quick answers right from ChatGPT without searching for them. So there will be some changes, but it will take time because habits are very hard to break. People are used to go to Google to find answers or businesses or products, and it will take a generation at least to change that habit, and instead people would go to ChatGPT. One thing I didn't take into account for that prediction, it was about 2 years ago when everyone was talking about search being dead very soon. One thing I didn't take into account that Google will also start changing their own search results and their own model with AI and LLM features. This is something that accelerates everything that's happening. Even people are almost forced to use AI without asking for it. It's everywhere in search. So that is absolutely accelerating all the expectations people have from search results, click-throughs, business visibility. All of that is happening at this very moment, and it is very important to keep track of that. So let's take a little step back and take a higher level picture of what is going on with search industry. So there is ChatGPT and other LLM platforms, including Gemini, AI Mode, Claude. I don't know how to pronounce that. Claudia, Claude. Anyways, there are quite a few. Perplexity. What else? DeepSeek. We cover all of them consistently in these live streams in my newsletter as well. So all of that, I think ChatGPT is by far the leader in market share of all user-facing LLMs. So there are quite a few LLMs that are not even user-facing. They provide APIs for businesses or APIs for tools. So we are talking right now about consumer facing platforms, and the leader there is ChatGPT because it is the most popular one. It is growing very fast as well. There was a study a few weeks ago on that's actually OpenAI official data, where they claim that almost 60-70% of use cases for ChatGPT are actually those that people use traditional search for. That may be finding product recommendations, maybe finding instructions on how to do stuff or to cook things. There are finding answers, there are checking facts. All of those use cases are Google's use cases. And people in almost 70% use ChatGPT for that, and that sector is growing. That type of use cases is growing. Some use cases are seeing in the same, or they're even declining. One of them is writing articles and doing something creative. Those tasks are not as popular as they were 1 year ago, but this search replacing use cases are growing according to OpenAI. So our question as optimizers for organic findability is whether ChatGPT is replacing Google, whether they steal some people that would have used Google, whether they still those use cases. So far, there are no conclusive studies about that. In most cases, I think Randfish can, SEMrush, HFs, at least several of those people who do studies on a regular basis, similar web as well. I'm tracking all of them. By the way, join my subreddit SEO for AI. This is where I share all the recent studies that I come across. And all of those studies claim that there is no sign that Google is losing users. They still go to Google. The theory is that they ask ChatGPT about something, and then they still switch to Google to either find the brand or find a more specific answer or do something after ChatGPT session. So far, it looks like ChatGPT is not replacing Google, but all signs show that it is becoming a competitor for many use cases for sure. So this is the first thing that all the industry is wondering about. If or rather when ChatGPT will be actual replacement for Google. We know that traffic from ChatGPT is coming to websites, but it is very low click-through, and so it does mean that there will be less traffic as more people use ChatGPT instead of traditional search. So this is the first thing that we're wondering about. Next thing we're also watching with a lot of attention is how Google itself is changing their consumer-facing products and how that is influencing click-through and what it means for the future. In my newsletter of this week, again, andsmarty.com, I do share quite a few screenshots of what's going on. The biggest changes are first AI overviews. They show up either on top of search results or below the ads or below number one search result. They still not sure where to show them, but they give very good conclusive answers to search queries, so people do not click anything. This is the biggest change that happened more than a year ago, and we all lost traffic over that. Publishers lost the most traffic. Almost 60% of clicks to publishers went away because those are good answers. Well, they may not be that good, but they're they're very satisfying. They may be wrong answers, by the way, but they are satisfying to users. AI overviews directly correlate with organic search results. If you're ranking in top 10 of search results, 90% of a chance, again, I don't have the recent study about that, but usually from my own observations, you will be in AI overviews cited as the source, but in most cases not clicked. This is organic search results. This is AI overviews, the biggest distractor for click-throughs at this point. There are all kinds of other things that Google is implementing AI for search results, which, by the way, in my personal opinion, is very surprising, because I don't understand why Google would spend all the resources changing organic search results using AI technology, because we know it's very resourceful. But now Google is also rewriting search snippets. Instead of showing the title and description from the page, they're using AI for that. Not exactly new, because it started rewriting titles about 2-3 years ago, but they were still easier to impact, because they would show H1 of the page, they would show passages from the page. Right now, they absolutely summarize some of those search snippets using AI. I don't think this is a public feature yet. That is part of Google's labs, which I'm always participating to see what can go public and what can impact search results. Local packs are also very much impacted by the AI. I was searching for what tire replacement last week, and AI right inside the local pack suggested that it checks pricing, comparison checks pricing for all the nearby businesses. So it will go and do the job and email me its research. I think this is the hugest change for local businesses, not very popular, not very widespread at this point. Not many people see that. I see that on desktop, not on mobile. But again, may go public as well. There are other things people also ask now. They used to pull answers from pages. Now they give summaries. Some suggested almost like fan out queries. If you search for something like roof repair, Google would suggest you searching for something like roof problems, roof damage signs, or things like that. Not exactly about your query, but trying to help you make a more informed decision. This is actually what we would have searched for and clicked for. Now all those are summaries of results and quick answers. All of that is decreasing the click-through and also builds new habits. I think the biggest thing that not many of us talk enough about is that all those AI integrations into organic search results accelerate that change in habits that would have taken years. Now they are like, people get used to getting those quick answers, having their tasks done right from search results. This is organic search. Google also has AI mode and web guide features. Both of them are AI driven as well, but they are not default yet, and I've talked about them a few times already. If it becomes public in the United States, usually they start with the United States with introductions like that, we will also see quite a few changes in traffic. Web guide is better than AI mode because web guide looks exactly as search results. It's much more clickable than AI mode that cites sources somewhere in the right side panel. No one clicks them. At least web guides, it restructures search results based on fanning out in different areas. If you search for a brand, for example, it will have a separate section for reviews, separate section for competitors, separate section for something else. So it rearranges organic search results based on where it thinks people would fan out and would be helpful for them, but at least it's clickable, not as well controllable and predictable. I would say predictable as organic search results, but it is clickable. Those two separate features of Google we will talk about when they become the actual problem, because right now they're not default yet. Not many consumers or users know that they exist. So the second thing here that we are watching with organic discoverability is how AI is changing actual organic search and how that impacts searching behaviors, searching expectations, search reporting, because there are no good ways to report on all of those AI features. So all of that is a huge question mark right now. Which of those become well adopted? Which of those experiments Google will not go on with? So we're watching there, and every time your site is losing any clicks or something, my part of audit is always checking for those new things that may be coming up in search results, because in most cases at this point, traffic loss cannot be attributed to any penalty or update or anything like that. In many cases, that's just something showing up in organic search and decreasing the overall click-through. So I always watch for those. Now, the third part of this huge thing that is going on in SEO is those AI LLM platforms start searching independently on their own. They behave, it's like actual people searches. Now we know that Search Console records them as actual searches. And it's almost like the third huge level of optimizing your website for those visits, and also attributing like what happened, what do they do. They're not human, they are actual AI agents visiting your website, pulling information from it, not giving much in return, because as we know, AI citations are not clicked that much. This is something that is still very new and very fresh. I just shared a new update in subreddit that I curate SEO for AI. There is a new finding that ChatGPT is actually using live organic search results, not API, and those visits are recorded in a Search Console. I also published a new article at Practical E-commerce with some ideas of how you can find those queries in Search Console, how to find longer queries, how to find queries that include reviews or Reddit or anything like that. So check out both of those articles, or let me know. I will send you the link if you're interested. This is the new area that we are still exploring. So those are not human visits. We cannot block them, because there is a huge chance after that visit we will be included in the answer as part of the solution. But how to optimize for them is a huge area that we're exploring. I talked about that quite a few times, about the importance of having your most important information accessible without JavaScript, of how you should be organizing your content the way it's easy for AI to quickly go through and pull the answers. Huge difference between Google crawler and AI agents is that AI agents first save resources like crazy. They cannot spend too many resources on just one research. So they will not likely crawl any other links to other pages. They have to find the answer very quickly. They search for clarity, not fluff words, not vague terms. They search for clear answers, and if they cannot find, they will likely leave and will cite someone else. So all of this is the new level of optimization, which is still pretty new, because it's been not too much time since LLM platforms started actually browsing our website and visiting our pages. So these three huge levels of what is happening in SEO, and now SEO and AI, because as you can see, the overlap is amazing. You can almost not talk about organic search without talking about some AI implementation of it or integrations in it. You cannot talk about LLMs and AI without mentioning search because they search, they use Google search. So the overlap is amazing. And so we are talking about both all the time, but pretty much without having clear answers. And again, I don't think anyone has clear answers at this point because it is developing too fast. It is just no one knows where it's all going. But it is very important to understand what's happening because it is happening right now, and we need to understand what to do to prepare for the future. And I think that April has a few questions right just about that. What to do? What should we all be doing?
So what are your tips for making up? No, I got it. So what are your for making up for loss of traffic from AI overviews?
One of the most popular questions clients are asking me, and I think it's not just me that feel that way, but all of us see a lot more leads now than even 2 years ago, exactly because people want to know those answers. And my answer is not very optimistic, and I always say, first of all, there is no revival of traffic. We've gone through very crazy 2 years. The beginning of that era was a few helpful content updates that killed a lot of traffic. Then AI overviews that killed the rest of it. And now some businesses come to me saying, how do I go back to the levels that I had 2 years ago? And I always say, there is no way to gain that traffic. There is no click economy. The click economy changed. There's simply no more that many clicks, especially in organic search. And just so you know, Google is not the only one stealing. I don't say stealing because they do not belong to us, but decreasing the clicks. Facebook is like that. They would not show a click an update to many people if there is a link in it. LinkedIn is like that. Twitter is like that. Organic clickability is decreasing all over the place. That's something businesses need to understand. It has changed. The click economy has changed, and that is something to keep in mind. So how do you actually still get some clicks from organic search, including AI overviews? I think I did have quite a few separate newsletters on that to give a quick overview, build something that cannot be summarized and has to be referenced right there. Status, infographics like we do in our company will focus on something that cannot be easily summarized. Like the how-to guides are easily summarized, especially if they're easy. One-on-one content is very easy to summarize, and chances are it's all in training data right now. ChatGPT or other LLMs do not have to search to give definitions, to explain concepts, to explain what something works. So all of that is still good to have on your website for your visitors, for people who come and you want to give them the URL instead of sending them elsewhere. But they are not going to attract many clicks. So I suggest building tools, building infographics, building something that should require a click. I think that's exactly how I named one of my newsletters, but build stuff that requires a click. And that is always a good idea, and you can engage those people further, and that also brings you brand visibility inside Google LLMs as well. So build something that is linkable and clickable. I think the biggest takeaway here, but again, do not expect your organic clicks go back to any levels that you had 2 years ago, just because there are not as many clicks anymore. People search and do not click.
Yeah. We have a great question from Muhammad, but I just want to say something really quick. Lately, I've been asking myself when I'm like brainstorming ideas for content, ask myself, could AI come up with this? I feel like that's kind of a good way to figure out if like AI overviews are it's just going to be able to sum it up, or if it's like original enough, then it can't just like steal the information from it. Because if you have like a unique human angle and put like an empathetic angle or creative angle, then it's more likely to stand out from all the other noise out there, AI generated noise or not. Yeah. So
Yep.
here's our question from Muhammad.
How should content creators adapt their SEO strategies to align with Google's AI overviews in 2025? It's good that it's 2025. It's funny how when all AI started, and I went to some conference to discuss whatever ChatGPT, or I don't even remember. I think it was ChatGPT, and there was like a round table, and everyone was like, "What are your predictions for like 5 years forward?" And I'm like, I can give predictions for 2 months forward. That's how fast it's all changing. I'm not trying to even think about what's going in 5 years. So the question here is for 2025. We have like 2 months for 2025. So perfect for me, perfect to answer. Like like I said, first of all, do create something that, like I said, very hard to summarize. And it's not just infographics or studies, surveys get cited like crazy in AI reviews, and they get clicks because you have to go to see. It's not easy to summarize all the findings in one answer. That is the first thing, that is something we focus on as well. But there are other tricks as well. Like at some point I was also sharing do queries. That's how Google now named them. Everything that includes complex instructions that cannot be easily summarized. And you can make them even harder to summarize if you add pictures of what you are doing, videos of how to do stuff, if you embed all of that there. Expert advice on something, especially if it's an internal expert, like first-hand experience, someone who has been doing that for years, they can have insider tricks for something. Also very hard to summarize. So think about the content strategy in a way. How can I create something that a user finds beneficial only when they come to my website? It cannot be like something like cannot be a quick answer, a quick summary of what I said. So create something that requires a click, the best way to describe it, and you can change like a brainstorming ideation process to that. So that would be just one of the most important criteria if I'm working on that piece. Newsworthy content is great as well, especially if you have some original comments on what's going on based on your this is exactly what we are doing for our company. We meet and discuss what's going on right now, and that goes very well in getting citability and all of that. And also think cross promotion. And I think I've been saying that for as long as I can remember. No, never just depend on Google. Do something else. Cross promote everywhere you can. Cross channel, and now another important level to mention here is that if you are in more than one place, if you have a lot of channels that you keep engaging, active, and useful, it adds to your visibility and AI as well, because they also see you everywhere. It's not just people who recognize you; they start recognizing you as the source as well. So anything from TikTok, Reddit is great in some industries. I'm not sure which niche is discussed here, but in most cases, to lead the conversation, to become the source, you should be on Reddit. You should be in some like more consumer facing industries, like I don't know, beauty or e-commerce. Instagram, TikTok, all of those are being used by AI as much. I think OpenAI just had a deal with Facebook a few weeks ago. So they are trying to get access to Facebook groups, to Instagram, to everywhere too. So they are very into user-generated content, so you have to be in more places, and that's how you gain more visibility and stop as much depending on Google as you used to. So all those things, think about content repackaging. That's how I tell it. When you are a content creator, you can almost always easily repackage that content into social media and diverse, like multi-format social media updates, and get additional visibility and clicks from there. With that, I hope it's easier to understand now what's going on with the industry. We'll meet more and more to discuss more and more changes. Please, 1 p.m. EST is where we discuss and answer questions. And we always discuss something very recent, all the status. Subscribe answering.com, join my subreddit if you have time to get even deeper into everything that's going on. If not, these quick summaries and my newsletter should be enough for most about any business owner or marketer to keep an eye on what's going on, because we summarize and hear everything. Thank you so much. See you next Wednesday, 1 p.m. EST. Have a great rest of your week, everyone.